Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 17 online game. We're concluding the AFC South portion of the 32-team preview series for the upcoming NFL season today by going over the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans, they're a young team on the rise, and they definitely made big strides improving that last season. And it all starts with the quarterback position when you talk about this young roster. Marcus Mariota, the number 2 pick in the 2015 draft. Normally, you want the guy that's picked number 1 overall, and Jameis Winston, definitely not a bad choice, but the Titans really got spared by having a number 2 pick and still getting a potential franchise quarterback in Mariota. But in Mariota's first season, the Titans stank so badly that they ended up getting the number 1 overall pick for the next year's draft. But they traded that pick away to the Los Angeles Rams, who were hoping they could get their franchise quarterback with the number 1 pick. And in return, the Titans got a lot of goodies, alright? They got a lot of good picks, including a number 5 overall pick in this year's draft. That was the Rams' first round pick, but they traded it away. And on top of that, they only traded down from the number 1 spot in the 2016 draft to the number 8 spot. And with that 8th overall pick, they picked up Jack Conklin, not Jake. And if you guys know, Jack Conklin, he was an all-pro right tackle last season. So they moved down the draft, and you think maybe they could have picked up Joey Bosa with a number 1 overall pick, but they really didn't do too badly by getting Conklin. And on top of that, they stacked up these draft picks. This year, number 1 overall pick for them, Corey Davis, or one of the first round picks. On top of that, with their actual first round pick, they took Adoree Jackson out of USC, a cornerback who can definitely help a young Titans secondary that definitely needs improvements, and they're making pushes to improve that secondary. So a lot of good things going on with the Titans. And that trade, we saw how much it helped the Rams when they did the trade, the RG3 trade with the Redskins. And now the Titans seem to be benefiting a lot because Corey Davis could be a potential superstar. And looking at this offense, he could fit in pretty perfectly. He doesn't have to be the guy, even though he's a number 5 overall pick. He doesn't have to step up right away. The Titans ended up getting a pretty good deal for Eric Decker, who's been a fantastic wide receiver throughout his career. Battling some injury problems with the Jets, and the Jets wanted to move on, so they just cut him. And the Titans said, one man's trash is another man's gold. Eric Decker's a great red zone wide receiver, and just solid in general, solid possession receiver. So have him, to have Rashard Matthews, not a big name, but I mean, Rashard Matthews did wonders for my fantasy team last season. I picked him up in like the waiver wires in one of my leagues, and dude went off, and I think he's pretty solid. I thought he was pretty solid in Miami, pretty good in his first year in Tennessee, and now they have Corey Davis on top of that, and they have Tajay Sharp, who might end up being decent. He was a big name in training camp last season, but he didn't really step up during the actual season. So, and even if he isn't good, it's okay. He was like a 5th round pick, and they have Harry Douglas too. So this is a pretty good wide receiving core. And oh yeah, Delanie Walker is the starting tight end for this team, and Delanie Walker has been one of the best tight ends in the NFL since he came down to Tennessee, and last year was definitely no exception. And now we're talking about this passing game with Mariota. How about the running game? How about the offensive line? How about the names on the offensive line? We mentioned Conklin. Taylor Lewin is the other tackle on this team. Lewin had, he had like off the field problems. He had anger management problems. It felt like, just keeping control of his emotions. And last year, he finally turned it around and ended up, being one of the best left tackles in the NFL. And to have that combination on top of that, the names that they have inside, they have Klein. I believe they got Klein from the Patriots. They got Ben Jones. Ben Jones has been good for them. And then even Quinn Span. And that's probably, besides the Dallas Cowboys, that might be the best full starting 5 of offensive linemen in the NFL. And that leads to a pretty deadly ground game, even if you don't have the best running backs. But the Titans have a pretty good collection of 1-2 punch at the running back position. They have DeMarco Murray, and Murray is getting up there in age, but he definitely, performed a lot better than people expected, because I don't think people really expected this Titans offensive line to be so beastly last year. But behind that, and DeMarco Murray still being a solid running back, just suffering from the Eagles' Chip Kelly thing a couple seasons ago, he put up big numbers, and they have Derrick Henry behind him. So whenever Murray kind of slows down, Derrick Henry is there to pick up the slack. And, Derrick Henry's a beast in mud. We all know that. But, I mean, he's not bad in real life either. He doesn't look too bad. I think that whenever the Titans want, they can hand this game over to Derrick Henry. And having Mariota and Derrick Henry, I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Last year's draft worked out really well for the Titans. They got Conklin. We still got to see what Dodd can bring. Kevin Dodd and Austin Jackson. He started playing a little bit more late in the season. And then when you look at, they got Derrick Henry in that draft. They also got Kevin Byrd in the 3rd round. I Byard. I really don't know how to pronounce his name, but I mean, he pretty much played every game last season, and he's going to be in that secondary this season as we transition to the defense with Jonathan Cyprien. And Jonathan Cyprien, you know, he's not the best coverage guy, but, you know, I've always thought, you know, even when we played, like, you know, when I did the team play videos with the Jaguars, I thought Cyprien, you know, had the potential to be one of the best tackling safeties in the league, and he definitely showed that off. He's definitely one of the better tackling safeties out there. So, you know, to have him in the box, it's not like you have an elite duo right there, but we got to see what, you know, Byard or whatever his name. Like, someone help me out with his pronunciation. I definitely am saying it wrong, so I'm sorry about that. But they got him. They got Adoree Jackson, and they also picked up Logan Ryan. And Logan Ryan has been solid for the Patriots. Now, it's a question of whether he was a part of the system or doing his own thing. But I mean, you know, him as a number 1 cornerback, not too big of a fan of that potentially happening, but, you know, as a 1A or 1B, I mean, or like a number 2 cornerback, we'll see what Jackson does. I'm okay with that. I mean, they paid him a lot of money, but it's a solid pickup. We'll see how it works out. Definitely the jury's out on that signing, but it could be a pretty good signing. And their front seven's a little bit average. It's not like the best front seven, but they definitely have a good rotation of pass rushers, and they showed that off last season. Derek Morgan, Brian Orakpo has slowly, you know, or quietly made it a pretty good career in Tennessee so far. He had like 10.5 sacks last season. Jarrell Casey's been one of the best interior defenders for years now, and they got a couple of other guys that they bring in. They got Daquan Jones. They got some of the young draft picks that I mentioned that they could bring in and out. So there are names in this front seven. Their linebacking core, you know, you got Orakpo and Derek Morgan rushing the outsides. Their middle linebacking core is average. You got Wesley Woodyard and Avery Williamson. It's not the biggest names, so that can definitely use some improvement, or those players just stepping up in general. But it's not a huge glaring hole, and this defense can definitely improve, especially their passing defense. The running defense was pretty good last year, and there's no reason to think that they're going to take a huge cliff dive this year. In the passing defense, they've added pieces to improve it. So it's a pretty optimistic feeling about the Titans when you hear me talk about them, you know, and it should be a pretty optimistic season for the Titans. But the one thing that is not guaranteed and can definitely derail everything is Marcus Mariota is not a guarantee to be a future superstar in the NFL. And I know that hurts some people. They're like, yo, Marcus Mariota is. Well, we got to wait and see if he continuously proves it. Because last year, you know, definitely at the beginning of the season, Mariota struggled a little bit, and you know, he definitely stepped it up, and everyone knows his red zone stats and all that. But, you know, last year the Titans were a really inconsistent team. There were weeks where their defense brought it, but not their offense, and vice versa. Their offense brought it, but their defense got absolutely torched. So we need them to have that consistency, and it really, this AFC South division, the quarterback play is so unknown that one of these quarterbacks can really swing the division. Whether it's Watson, or Tom Savage, maybe whoever's going to be starting, whether it's Marcus Mariota, whether it's, you know, Andrew Luck coming back healthy. We'll see what he does. And, of course, Blake Bortles is a huge question mark. There's he only threw like 5 interceptions in training camp like a day or two ago, and that's not good. So, maybe not the Jaguars, but these other quarterbacks can definitely swing the division. So, what I think for the Tennessee Titans is I think that, you know, they can win somewhere between 8 and 10 games, and I think they will win the AFC South this year. But, you know, that's just putting a lot of stock in Mariota, but they have the tools this year. If this is definitely the year for Mariota to take a leap out there, take a step up. You know, they got Ryan Succop was really good for them last season, so we'll see if Succop can keep it up. I believe he's still on the roster, but they definitely have all the tools around Marcus Mariota to make him get that next step. And even if he doesn't become, you know, Tom Brady tomorrow, they have players around him to where he doesn't have to do everything for them. And this Titans team can control the football, can definitely, you know, limit turnovers next season and play smart and win games that way. So I think because of everything that's built around this Titans team, it's not like they've drafted the best lately, but definitely last year's draft cashed in. And if this year's draft is a cash in, they also got Tywan Taylor as a third round pick as a wide receiver. They got a tight end, I believe, as well. So definitely a lot of pieces around this Titans team to take another step to make the playoffs. So, you know, I think that's what they'll do this season. I think that they will make the playoffs. I think that they'll beat the Texans and win the division. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, though. If you think that the Titans might actually regress, because it's definitely a realistic possibility and something that I wouldn't be surprised happens, let me know why in the comment section. Titans fans, do you guys think that this is your year to make some noise in the AFC? Let me know why that's the case as well. So, leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys next time.